Imagine standing in the middle of the Giza Plateau, staring up at the Great Pyramid, and realizing that every stone, some weighing over 70 tons, was cut, transported, and placed with a precision that still baffles engineers today. The structure aligns almost perfectly with the cardinal points of the Earth, with a margin of error so small that even modern surveyors are impressed. How did a civilization with no cranes, no advanced metal tools, and no modern machinery achieve this level of accuracy? Some researchers argue that this isn't just human ingenuity at work. It could be evidence of outside influence. Across the globe, cultures that had no known contact with each other were building pyramids, mounds, and massive stone structures around the same periods. The Mayans, Egyptians, Mesopotamians, and even ancient Chinese built monuments with celestial alignments that perfectly matched the positions of stars and constellations thousands of years ago. Coincidence? Or did they all receive similar knowledge from a common source, one that came from the skies? Ancient texts from different parts of the world repeatedly mention beings who descended from the heavens, taught humans farming, astronomy, and even language. The Sumerians, one of the earliest known civilizations, left behind tablets describing gods called the Anunnaki, who came from the stars to shape mankind. The Dogon tribe in Africa spoke of beings from Sirius long before astronomers even confirmed the existence of Sirius B, an invisible companion star. How could a remote tribe know about a star invisible to the naked eye unless someone had told them? Look at the Nazca Lines in Peru. Giant geoglyphs carved into the desert floor that can only be fully seen from there. Enormous animals, geometric shapes, and even what some claim looks like a humanoid figure with a helmet stretch across miles of barren land. Were they messages meant for gods in the sky, or landing markers for visitors from above? Then there are the cave paintings. In places like Valcamonica in Italy and the Wandjina rock art in Australia, you see figures with strange round heads, large eyes, and what look eerily like helmets or suits. These were drawn thousands of years ago, long before space exploration was even a concept. Why would early humans depict beings that look nothing like themselves, but so much like modern astronauts? Even in religious texts, we find clues that raise eyebrows. The biblical story of Ezekiel describes a wheel within a wheel descending from the heavens, with creatures that glowed like metal and moved in mechanical ways. To a person living thousands of years ago, what would a craft look like if not a fiery chariot? Archaeologists often dismiss these theories as pseudoscience, saying that we underestimate the intelligence of our ancestors. And yes, ancient humans were brilliant, but we still can't explain how they cut granite with such precision, moved stones weighing hundreds of tons, or built structures that have lasted millennia without modern tools. There's a gap between what we know they had and what they achieved. That gap is where the alien hypothesis lives. Some argue that alien contact wasn't just a one-time event but a series of interventions across history. Why else would there be sudden leaps in technology, from the sudden appearance of agriculture to the rapid development of writing, metallurgy, and mathematics? Did humanity receive a little push at key moments? Skeptics say there's no hard evidence, no alien bones, no crashed ships from antiquity. But perhaps we wouldn't find them. Advanced visitors might have cleaned up after themselves, leaving behind only hints. Or perhaps what we call gods, angels, and demons were always something physical, not spiritual. The fascination with the stars was almost universal in ancient times. People built observatories like Stonehenge, Chichen Itza, and Nabta Playa not just to mark seasons, but to track celestial events with stunning accuracy. Some of these structures predict eclipses and solstices better than some modern models. Why such obsession with the heavens unless there was a reason? Perhaps because that's where their teachers came from. Even more chilling are the artifacts that seem out of place in time. The Baghdad battery, a clay jar that may have been used to generate electricity over 2,000 years ago. The Antikythera mechanism, an ancient Greek device that works like a complex analog computer to track planets and eclipses. These discoveries suggest a level of knowledge that shouldn't have existed then, or at least not without help. When we connect all of these dots, the myths, the art, the structures, the sudden bursts of knowledge, a pattern emerges that is hard to ignore. Maybe our ancestors weren't imagining gods descending from the sky. Maybe they were recording Something very real, and the only language they had. Maybe history, as we know it, is missing an entire chapter, one that begins not on Earth, but far beyond it. Asterisk, what if those ancient encounters weren't just brief visits but long-term relationships between humanity and something far more advanced? Some researchers believe early humans might have even been genetically influenced. The Sumerian tablets speak of the Anunnaki fashioning mankind, suggesting that humans were altered or uplifted to serve a purpose. Modern genetics has found oddities in our DNA of sudden changes. Junk segments that seem to serve no function but are still there, as though inserted. Could that be a signature left behind? A kind of cosmic fingerprint of our origins? Look at the sudden explosion of megalithic architecture across continents. Sites like Göbekli Tepe in Turkey were built 12,000 years ago, when humans were supposed to still be nomadic hunter-gatherers. The site features carved pillars weighing many tons, ranged in circles aligned to constellations. It shouldn't exist, yet it does. We taught these early humans to quarry stone, move it, and place it in perfect astronomical orientation. Archaeologists admit Göbekli Tepe changes everything we thought we knew about prehistory. Even the way myths line up across cultures is uncanny. The Hopi talk about sky people. The Zulu speak of star beings. The ancient Hindus wrote about vimanas, flying chariots described in detail, with propulsion systems, aerial battles, and even weapons resembling modern energy weapons. Were these just metaphors, or memories of actual events? The descriptions are so specific that some engineers have tried to reconstruct them. There are also those strange, elongated skulls found in Peru, Mexico, and parts of Africa. While some could be the result of cranial binding, others have cranial volumes too large to be human and show biological differences that can't be explained away by shaping. Were these simply deformed humans, or a different species entirely? Maybe even hybrid. If these beings were so advanced, why did they leave? Or did they? Some say they never left at all. Legends across the world speak of hidden ones, gods who went underground or underwater, promising to return one day. Could they still be here, monitoring our progress, waiting for us to reach a certain level before making contact again? There's also the question of why ancient humans were so obsessed with mimicking the heavens on Earth. The pyramids of Giza mirror the stars of Orion's belt. Teotihuacan aligns with the Pleiades. Even Native American mound builders created earthworks that align with lunar cycles and solstices. These weren't random. They required generations of skywatching and careful planning. Were these monuments built as beacons, as messages to whoever was watching from above? When we look at these mysteries with a modern eye, we often laugh and say, our ancestors were superstitious. But what if they were trying to warn us? What if they wanted us to remember what happened and that we are not alone and never have been? Then there's the question of technology. If humanity was visited, why didn't they leave us with obvious tools or machines? Maybe they did and we've lost or misinterpreted them. Or maybe they gave us knowledge in a way that forced us to grow, to evolve, to discover fire, wheels, writing, and math on our own, instead of handing us everything. It's like giving a child just enough guidance to learn but not so much that they never try. In recent decades, some UFO researchers have noticed that sightings often occur near ancient sacred sites. Why do modern unidentified objects seem to be interested in the same places ancient people consider and holy? Stone circles, pyramids, mountains, deserts, these are hotspots even now. Could there be some kind of ancient infrastructure still active beneath the ground? Something we barely understand, and they are checking on it. The more we study the past, the more questions we find. Each discovery pushes back the timeline of civilization, making us wonder if there were earlier, forgotten epochs when humans might have been more advanced or had help becoming so. Perhaps what we call myths are distorted memories of those lost ages. Some scientists believe that if intelligent life visited Earth, we should find something like a message hidden in plain sight. In mathematics, in DNA, or in the layout of ancient monuments. And maybe we already have, but we don't yet know how to read it. The truth might be staring us in the face, carved into stone, written in the stars, waiting for us to piece it together. Consider the legends of lost continents: Atlantis, Lemuria, Nu. Plato described Atlantis not as a myth but as a historical account, passed down through Egyptian priests. He wrote about an advanced civilization with technology that surpassed the known world, destroyed in a cataclysm. Skeptics dismiss it as allegory, but geologists have discovered evidence of massive floods, rising sea levels, and sudden disasters around 12,000 years ago, the exact time Plato dated the fall of Atlantis. What if those floods wiped out not just a city but a civilization that had been in contact with someone from beyond the stars? Survivors might have scattered, seeding knowledge in Egypt, Mesoamerica, and Asia, giving birth to the sudden rise of advanced cultures. Ancient carvings in Bolivia's Pumapunku site show stones cut with such precision that even a razor blade can't fit between them. Some blocks are shaped with perfect right angles, as if made with machines. Yet the site dates back thousands of years, long before iron tools were supposedly invented. The people who lived there left no written language, no record of how they built it, just the stones themselves, as if they were built to last long after memory faded. Across India, you find temples with carvings of beings flying in sky vehicles, holding what appear to be weapons that shoot rays of light. The Mahabharata even describes a weapon that causes a brightness of 10,000 suns, burning people to ashes instantly, eerily similar to a nuclear explosion. Were these simply poetic metaphors? Or were they describing something they saw? Something that shouldn't have existed in the ancient world? Even in Europe, we find traces of impossible knowledge. The Druids aligned Stonehenge so precisely that it still marks solstices and eclipses to this day. How did people with stone tools manage to move stones weighing dozens of tons over miles and place them in perfect formation? Mainstream archaeology says with brute force and ropes, but that doesn't explain why similar monuments appear in different continents, all tied to the sky dot. And then there are the skulls of Paracas in Peru, which show not just elongation but differences in bone thickness and cranial capacity. DNA tests revealed mutations unlike any local population, pointing to origins outside the region, maybe even outside what we consider normal human lineage. Some researchers go further and suggest that these visitors didn't just help, they ruled. They might have been worshipped as gods, kings, or teachers. Many early civilizations show depictions of beings much larger than ordinary humans, wearing strange helmets, holding tools that resemble rods, staffs, or even weapons. Could these have been actual rulers, leaving behind dynasties and myths when they disappeared? Interestingly, modern UFO sightings sometimes match ancient descriptions. Witnesses report glowing discs, spinning wheels, cigar-shaped craft, almost exactly what ancient texts describe. Is it possible that what was seen then is still being seen now, across centuries, as if the same visitors have been monitoring humanity all along? Skeptics argue that humans have always looked to the stars, and that our ancestors simply projected their hopes and fears onto them. But there's a difference between hope and knowledge. How did they know the Earth was round? That certain stars existed beyond the visible ones? That planetary cycles repeat over thousands of years? Some of this knowledge was rediscovered by modern science only in the last few centuries. And if these encounters really happened, what does that mean for us today? Are we still being guided, perhaps subtly influenced, toward some goal? Could our rapid technological growth in the last 100 years be the result of another nudge, another spark given to humanity? The unanswered questions pile up. The patterns repeat, the myths persist, and the evidence, scattered across the world, seems to whisper the same story. We are not the first intelligent species to walk this planet, and maybe we are not the only ones here now. Asterisk if ancient history really hides evidence of alien contact. The implications are enormous, not just for archaeology but for how we understand ourselves. Religion, for one, would have to face difficult questions. If what we've called angels, gods, or divine messengers were actually advanced beings from another world, then much of what we think of as spiritual revelation might have been first contact. This doesn't diminish faith for some people. In fact, it could strengthen it, suggesting that life is more connected and purposeful than we ever imagined. But for others, it could shatter entire belief systems built on the idea that humanity is unique, created in isolation. Science would be equally shaken. For centuries, we've worked under the assumption that civilization developed gradually, that we climbed from stone tools to rockets on our own. Admitting we had help would force us to rewrite history books and rethink the timeline of human progress. It might even force us to confront the possibility that we're still being observed, still part of some larger experiment we don't fully understand. And what about the governments of today? If there is knowledge of ancient contact, and some say there is, it might explain why modern governments are so secretive about UFO sightings. They might know that this isn't a new phenomenon at all, that it's been happening since the dawn of history, and revealing that would cause panic or loss of control. This could be why so many files remain classified, why witnesses are silenced, why sightings are dismissed so quickly in official reports. But disclosure might be inevitable. The more technology advances, the harder it becomes to hide. Everyone has a camera, satellites watch every corner of the Earth, and citizens share what they see instantly online. If a landing or undeniable encounter happened today, the entire world would know before officials had time to spin the story. Imagine what that would mean. All those myths, all those ancient carvings and writings, suddenly confirmed. Humanity might feel united for the first time, seeing that we are one species under the same sky, part of a larger galactic neighborhood. Or it could divide us further, with some seeing the visitors as saviors and others as threats. The most haunting thought is that maybe the visitors are waiting for something for us to mature, to solve our conflicts, to reach a certain level of technology or ethics before they reveal themselves. Maybe that's why they appeared more openly in the past, when we posed no threat, and why they are more careful now. If we are being watched, what message are we sending? Our wars, our environmental destruction, our constant search for power, is that the image of humanity we want to project? Or could our creativity, our art, our science, and our ability to imagine something bigger than ourselves be what draws them back? Perhaps the real secret hidden in ancient history is that we have never been alone and never will be. The stories of sky gods and star people might be warnings or invitations, telling us to look up, to remember where we came from, and to prepare for the day we meet them again. And if that day comes, it will be the most profound moment in human history, the day we confirm that the stars have always been watching, that we are part of something greater, and that the story of humanity is only just beginning.